Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.
I should learn to do the clapper before I put the headphones on because it hurts my ear every time. But, yeah. Hey, buddy.
I still don't know how to clap, actually.
No comment. We welcome back, listeners, to the episode of 108 to the podcast Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast, episode 108, where we debate the business topics and then we get drunk, and then if we think the same thing, then we tell you, and if we don't, then we tell you, and if we forget that part of the show, then we tell you.
Next time.
108 is my childhood home's address, 108. I'm not going to say that. I was about to.
I almost said it, too.
I realized my parents still live there, so I probably shouldn't dox them.
Shout out, Brent.
Shout out Brent, Dr. Brent, to you. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. I'm in a weird state right now where it's like I feel like I have a pretty good work-life balance, but like my body disagrees.
Which is that's funny.
Fucking annoying because like I don't know if you get to that level of like fatigue where your eyes just you have like an eyelid that just won't stop fucking twitching.
Oh yeah, and it always happens while I'm driving, and I'm like, this is not safe.
Yeah, and it's like it's so slight. Like when I look in the mirror, I can't really see it, but like it feels obvious.
Yeah,
you feel it, and you like see it like almost like
so,
your vision kind of flickers like a little bit. But I've had a fucking twitch in eye for like a week and a half, and it's like I'm trying to get more sleep, trying to eat better. I'm trying to like maybe I'm not working this weekend. It's like it just won't fucking go away.
Follow my logic here.
Mm-hmm.
You know how like these guys retire and then they're dead in 6 months?
Yeah.
That's what's happening to you. You need a shittier work-life balance.
Oh.
You need to work more, have more purpose, and then your body's going to be like, well, we can't fucking give this energy to this other shit. We need to just give the energy to being working.
Sleep less. Got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Say
That's
less.
kind of what I'm saying.
Say less. I got this.
What is that? Is there science behind that where people actually die, or is that just like a retirement age happens to be like 2 years before average death age in the United States? So
I think that's more it. Yeah. I think the science behind that might be like there's definitely science behind like the will to live and like the fact that being active and being driven and like constantly moving is actually really good for your body. And then when people retire, they become fucking sedentary, and you're sedentary, depressed, and like all these things that you basically been fighting off old age with like activity and movement.
Yeah, I hear a lot about like
and
these
good hormones and all that.
People are always like, oh, these Fortune 500 CEOs and these politicians are all fucking in their 90s. Like we need to get rid of them. But it's like that's a lot of times what keeps their mind active.
Yeah.
Like the stimulus of running a company.
Yeah.
Is significantly better than what are you playing bridge at fucking.
Yeah, you're just waiting to die.
Yeah, at a nursing home.
I like the juxtaposition is either you run the world or you play fucking shuffleboard at a nursing home and wait to die.
I kind of feel
That's
like
pretty good.
I feel like there is no middle ground for me though.
How do you feel about the French
in general?
Right now,
they're smelly.
Have you not heard about what's happening in fucking France?
Let me guess, they're protesting something.
Oh, yeah, they are. They're burning down the fucking country again.
They do that like every 3 months. It's fine.
This one's pretty good. I saw a headline there. They're so good.
Lowering or raising the retirement age or something.
By 2 years.
Like
and people are losing their goddamn minds. I get it. I totally get it. And I think they're totally correct for doing what they're doing. I think it's great. My favorite part is that like a lot of the government workers, like garbage pickup and shit like that, are on strike.
There's this garbage all over the streets.
Piles of trash on the street. Now the protesters are like lighting the trash on fire. It's so good. Like I've watched a montage. Actually, I watched a Grand Tour, their special on. They're like. Usually they have a special of like, oh, we're going across Botswana to do this and this, and like the special today is what's wrong with France. And long story short, they love France, and there's a lot of things that are great about France, including like they're very, they're like they relish the enjoyment of life, and the entire like structure of the country is basically to like hold off like globalization and capitalism from like melting their country and turning them into just like cogs in a wheel. It's like they're like the last bastion of hope in like modern society against like just fucking neocons taking over and like putting a McDonald's in every corner and turning you into just like a working machine till you die. Like it is illegal in France to eat lunch at your desk. You got to go out. You got to go like sit in a fucking cafe and have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. And it's like, and drinking at work is not permitted, but wine and beer don't count.
You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in France?
Shit.
A Royale with cheese.
Nice.
You know why?
Why?
Metric system. They wouldn't know what the fuck a quarter pounder was.
True.
You know what they call a Big Mac?
These nuts?
Le Big Mac.
Oh, great. Got me there.
You know what they call a Whopper? I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't go to Burger King.
Le Whopper. One of my favorite protests that's happened in the past was there was like some regulation that was being enforced with cameras on their like main highways. That was like enforcement against like transport drivers, and they just fucking rioted and burnt down and like just tore down every camera in the country. And
So-
they're like, fuck you and your fucking cameras. And they just like didn't put them back up. They're like, oh, okay.
Why do you think they're so quick to protest?
Why are they so fighty?
And Americans are so not quick to protest?
I think because, well, for one, the French aren't afraid of the cops because
Sure.
they have good reason to have the pride of like, there's like a solidarity among the people of around protecting their culture, and they know that everyone's going to show up and everyone's got each other's backs and they're going to fucking fight till they win. America doesn't do that because
Individualism?
well, for one, it's a very individualist country. That's a good point. And also in America, if you go and protest, even if it's for a good cause, one person throws a brick and then every fucking news outlet's going to be like, violent protesters are being, there's no appetite for standing up for yourself or
Wasn't there
standing
like
up for what you
1,000
believe
school
in.
shootings last year?
Yeah.
And no one cares?
And nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, no one cares about anything.
No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, but they raised the retirement age by 2 years in France, and then they're like out killing people and burning down parts of the city.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
Like, if there's a reason that like French cops like don't carry guns
yeah.
because
most
they
of-
don't have like violent crime to the same degree.
That's
like,
most of Europe.
yeah.
Well, Western Europe is like they have to call in the gun cops. I know how
Yeah.
that's it. How
Yeah.
in Britain too.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
One of my favorite videos I've seen recently was a squadron of SWAT cops was like bull rushed. Willows is dying. Bull rushed a crowd of protesters, and this is basically a tactic designed to like make them run and scatter, right? But they just didn't flinch. Like the front line, the guys like looked bored. And the bull rush just like stopped 3 feet short of the crowd, and they're like, "Oh fuck!" And then they quickly retreated back to their vehicles. And it's like, yeah, the French they're tough as hell. They're really good at protesting, and they know that they know that it's effective. It's like that's their public discourse. In the U.S. and in Canada, people just bitch and whine and post on Facebook and Twitter or whatever, and they complain, but nobody cares enough to go and do anything.
Well, and then that entire attitude, what you just said, is a feedback effect.
Yeah.
Because people don't care.
It's learned.
So that when
it's
people
learned
do care, they're
helplessness.
like, "Well, what's one person gonna do?"
Yeah, no,
Right?
exactly, and it's the crabs in the bucket thing where people are like will tear each other down.
Yeah.
Someone's standing up for what they believe in, and this is why I'm all for the trucker protests and all that shit that happened in Canada, even though it's for stuff that I didn't particularly agree with or think was valid.
Hey, whenever the government's scared, I'm a happy guy.
Exactly, I agree. It's like government overstepped or on their authority. you
And
know,
they-
I don't
they fuck around and find
I don't
out.
disagree with that. It's like, sure, yeah, fucking go protest against that. But it's like when you get into the weeds of the other things that they believed in, it's like, okay, well, maybe that's a little sus, but it's like,
I
hey,
thought
we
you
can
didn't-
agree on most things.
But you didn't like the Capitol storming.
The Capitol, I think the Capitol storming was
I recall us arguing about that because
Yeah.
I was pro Capitol storming.
as a concept of scaring the government. I'm very much in favor of it.
Yeah.
What pisses me off is nobody acknowledges it for what it is.
Which was a coup attempt.
Right, and everyone on the side of, like, on that political side of the fence denies that it was what it is.
But they should double down and say
exactly.
it was a coup attempt.
My beef with them
Okay.
is the fact that
Transparency.
people deny the fact that it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
Tucker's on TV at night being like, oh, these are just people walking around, staying between the barricades. Nothing
Yeah.
happened here. They're just
Did you-
tourists. It's like, that's not fucking true.
Did you see, though, that now they released all the security footage?
To
and-
Tucker.
Oh, so you're saying it might
Tens
be...
of thousands of hours of it went to
Oh,
Tucker,
okay.
and he's
All right.
picking
Yeah,
a
okay.
few hours here and there,
Okay.
a few pieces here and
I
there
thought-
that make it look like no big deal.
I thought someone posted it all.
Well, no, because the Republicans are in charge of it.
Right.
And they
Okay.
released it to Tucker.
I'll rescind that because I just saw a headline that was like, you saw the shaman guy like casually walking with the cops and everything, and it was like he wasn't causing any trouble the entire time.
Yeah, it's because they select,
They're just pick and choosing.
and it's also
Okay.
because the cops were kind of on the side of the protesters. At a lot of them,
You know what's funny is like
there was
I,
hundreds of cops and Marines and soldiers in the riot. Right?
I saw like half. It's both sides of the aisle hated and loved it for two, like, you know, like, so there were like the other 98%. I always talk about trolling. Their commenters are the easiest to troll, which I know
Yeah.
like I shouldn't because this is giving them engagement.
Yeah.
But that's I always talk about this thing I do where I'm like in a waiting room for a doctor or something, and I have 20 minutes to burn, so I just jump in their comments, start some fights. People start getting fucking typing 9 paragraphs back to me, and then I just mute it and then go to do whatever I'm gonna do. And then there's been times where I check back in it, and they're like, it's like 470 comments of just people arguing with each other.
Yeah.
I find that very funny. So I always go in there and troll, and they were posting like memorials for the cop that got shot.
Right.
Right. And then like I'm scrolling back and like screenshotting their posts about like what's his name? Derek Chauvin and the guy that got stepped on his neck or whatever and died.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate that I can remember the cop's name and not the
Floyd.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
Floyd, what was it?
George.
George Floyd. There you go.
Floyd George.
Floyd George.
That wasn't even that far from here.
No, that wasn't. But so, and then I'm like, well, good riddance. This fucking cop got shot, right? This Capitol Security, good fucking riddance. Fuck around and find out the will of the people. And these liberals were not happy about that. And I'm like, I thought
Yeah.
we were. I'm like, no,
What happened to ACAP?
I'm like, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, comrades, I thought we were ACAP here. And they're like, well, it's like, no.
Yeah.
All cops, right? That's the first 2 letters, all of them. Not Capitol Police is fine. Or if they're fucking up a right-wing person,
Right.
then killing them is wrong.
Right.
Fuck that cop. Fuck that old woman that got stampled to death.
Stampled.
Fuck them. Fuck those representatives that were hiding under their seats. That's a great,
Like,
great
honestly,
photo.
if they would have just got like one of them, that would have been
Oh man.
like, how
Yeah.
much different would the zeitgeist be if they would have lynched just one congressperson?
Well, if they lynched a congressperson, they probably would have just the rules of engagement would have changed.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
They would have started shooting
Yeah.
protesters.
Oh yeah.
And then
Think about
that safe house they found filled with guns probably would have got used, right? And then it would have been like escalated.
The safe. I think we talked about this before, but the safe house full of guns. Those guys were waiting on Trump to give the signal.
Yeah, but if the Capitol Hill police just started shooting,
They wouldn't have gone.
no,
in.
okay,
They would've-
whatever.
They're pussies, man. They're fascists. They're fucking pussies. If they don't have a 20-1 advantage
Yeah.
and an arms advantage on top of that, they don't fucking do anything.
Okay, so I'm gonna have a counter argument there. Hitler wanted to fight.
Yeah.
wanted to fight on 2
Oh,
fronts.
sure. They're fine. Those were war
So
those were
Hitler
war season fascists.
is brave, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, like those the fucking black shirts.
This video just got demonetized.
Great. The fucking black shirts were like so down for violence because they had like spent time in the trenches and
They
like
were also on
recent
meth.
and like yeah, well eventually, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like when they were still working on taking power, when they were still fighting in the streets.
Yeah.
Which is
We shall fight them in the streets.
literally where all this shit starts. And they were totally down for gunfights, and these guys are not like shooting over your head on purpose because they're used to shooting at targets. No, these fucking guys were in World War I recently.
Yeah.
They were fine with violence. And it's like murder was like A-okay.
So these fascists
Like-
are just like
The
don't they do like drills in their backyards or whatever?
it's just a hair off of like LARPing and role play.
Do they call themselves fascists?
Some of them are like it depends on where you.
I guess if you're like self-identified as a neo-Nazi, you probably do.
Well, it's like white Christian nationalists. It's just the
Yeah.
same shit by a different word.
Yeah, well, it's like all the people that are like, fuck communism and then just describe capitalism.
Literally, like even
Yeah.
if they're not saying fascism, the next words out of their mouth will describe fascism.
Yeah.
Like it is what it's just a label. It is what it is. It's like
Here's
don't be
a-
fucking afraid of the label. Own it. If you're gonna be a fascist, fucking own it.
Here's a good one I saw that someone posted the meme that's like, well, I can't argue with his logic. That's so Antifa is so bad that Nazis are protesting them. You know how bad you have to be for Nazis to disagree with you?
I don't think that's how that
And
works.
then people just kept responding, yeah, that very good logic, buddy. Like, yep, I like it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I like it.
No, I think, as we said last time, the side of evil is always the side that the Nazis agree with.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
So,
historically, that's how it's always played out. Whichever
okay.
side the Nazis are on is just not good.
Okay, counterpoint. World War II.
Uh-huh.
Americans were the evil.
I mean, they're never the good guy. I mean, okay, I think a lot of people argue like World War II was the last just war.
I don't even know if that was a just war.
I mean, probably not, but like as just as war can possibly be.
I've heard
like there's not a lot of both sidesing like the Holocaust.
I think most of us can agree that went too far.
Most of us.
But 6 million. Come
Jordan
on.
Peterson would disagree.
I didn't say that. That was Tyler. Would never slander the name of the great Dr. Peterson.
Dr. Jordan B. Peterson.
I was playing chess when Tyler walked in, and he's like, "Why are you playing chess?" And I'm like, "Well, my hero Andrew Tate is a chess champion."
None of this happened. I didn't care.
I was playing chess when you walked in.
I didn't ask.
I did have that in my mind that I was gonna say that if you,
Why do you think I didn't ask?
because you,
I know you too well.
and you know what happens in chess. You have to anticipate your opponent's move.
So
You're-
fucking checkmate, bitch.
You're learning, my son.
Shut up! I didn't learn shit from you. I love the French.
We're back to that, hey.
Well, we know.
Okay,
We
favorite
didn't-
things about the French. Go, croissants.
Croissant.
Carl Weezer. Weezer the band,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's everything, right?
that's pretty much everything. No, they make champagne.
Yeah.
They make pretty good liquor.
Cognac.
One of my favorite things is that Gordon Ramsay, I think. He's talking to someone's like another chef is like defending British cuisine or something. Was it Gordon Ramsay? I don't know. A chef's like defending British cuisine. And the other chef's like, British cuisine sucks. He's like, then why are fucking 7 of the top 10 restaurants in the world in London? And he's like, what kind of food do they serve? And he's like, French. And then just starts laughing.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, French food is good, great,
Like
right?
I just love the cultural. I love the culture of just not giving a fucking inch.
But aren't they like mostly have a history of being like fascists and
Oh, they're problematic.
colonizers?
They're problematic. Like they're the culture. Like the French have done abhorrent things as colonizers and like as a press.
'Cause,
They're
like-
really violent. Their military is like
In 2023, they occupy more foreign territory than they do
Domestic.
Domestic. They have like 15 African countries are using the fucking the.
Oh
French
but
currency.
that's like, I don't know if you would say that's the what the French state does versus like how the people live, because how the people live, I guess they don't fight against that, because I guess like, I don't know.
Well, those are just black people.
How do you fight against something that always has been and always will be? I guess maybe they're apathetic about it.
I guess, but then
like it's been that way longer than anybody that has politics has been alive.
But then here's what I'm saying:
as long as
France
has been a thing that's been a thing.
Here's what I'm saying though: is like then their fucking protests are ineffective if they haven't actually like it's what do they call it? Capitalist realism, where like they make that you think that you're doing these progressive left things when actually it's all part of design to keep you not caring about the other shit.
Well, they care about France. They don't give a fuck about that's their thing.
Oh, those black people over there, I don't care about them.
They don't give a shit about great accent. They don't give a shit about anything outside their borders.
Yeah.
Like, don't fuck with France. That's their attitude.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying they have an unproblematic culture. I'm just saying the way that they respond to their own state is fascinating. And like that's what people fantasize about. And one little bit of legislation that comes out that moves the goalpost by like a fraction, everyone loses their fucking minds.
No,
there's something very fun about that.
I respect the fact that, because imagine if Americans had that same sort of togetherness, and they're all armed to shit, right? Like they could overthrow the government if they wanted, if they cared.
Right.
And yeah, before you get mad at me, French people, I'm mostly kidding. I said you were stinky earlier. I don't agree.
Yeah, well, America's too divided to ever pull that off, right? Because the second that the left protests and tries to do things, half the country is against them already. Like, you can't even get popular support for an issue because...
You can't even get, like, popular support for, like, people shouldn't be dying in the street.
Yeah, no, you're asking... Yeah, no.
That's too much. Like, even here, it's like, it's not even like, hey, maybe people shouldn't starve to death. And we're like, well... Yeah, come on.
The child poverty rate in the U.S. is over 20%.
That's fine, I think.
The number one cause of death for children is gunshot wounds.
Is that true?
Yes.
You know what it's going to be in like 5 years?
Gunshot wounds.
No. It's going to be stuff that's preventable by vaccine. They're going to be dying of diphtheria because all these anti-vax...
No, it'll still be gunshot wounds. they have a lot of automatic weapons. I don't think you understand.
I don't think it's that
I don't think there's going to be
hard.
less school shooters going forwards. Have you seen TikTok?
Why don't you just not load it?
Load what?
The gun. Like all these toddlers that find the gun and then shoot themselves. It's like, can you just not have it loaded?
Well, what about if the off chance that some off-color person comes in your front door and then you have to shoot them?
Is like a toddler strong enough to like put a magazine in the gun?
Probably not. Well, a toddler, yeah, strong enough, yeah. Yeah. They probably wouldn't be strong enough to cock it though.
Well, and they've been playing Call of Duty, so they like know how.
Right. You probably wouldn't be able to like pull back the slide or something on a Glock. That wouldn't be that easy.
I know.
So why don't we find a toddler? Let's get a Glock.
Let's try.
I got a nephew.
I know you don't pay attention to YouTube drama, but there's a little bit of YouTube drama right now. This guy Sneeko, he's kind of an Andrew Tate clone.
Right.
I like Andrew Tate for his entertainment value. I've said that before. Sneeko is like trying to do all the same stuff, but he's just bad at it.
Nice.
And I'm like, this is just not entertaining. So he's beefing with this guy, Moist Critical, who's does like commentary or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're beefing. And I guess Critical is a little bit lefter leaning, you would say. He's kind of like a troll, but he's like, I guess, probably lefter leaning. And then Sneeko is like righter leaning. So they have like these beefs. He's like, oh, you fucking, because like Charlie Critical has like long hair like mine or even longer, and he's like skinny, and it's like, oh, he's like, oh, you, and then Sneeko's calling him like, oh, you can't even be masculine. You're like all this whatever, whatever, that kind of shit. So then he was on Facebook Live or Instagram Live or something the other day. And he had like 2 guns, like presumably real guns. They're Americans, right? So presumably real. But he had these 2 handguns, and he was threatening Charlie in a way that it like wasn't an offense.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, it'd be a shame if someone like came to your house or something like that, right?
Indirect threats.
Something like that. And then he was like talking about like because they're Twitch streamers, both of them, right? So they're talking about clips like on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, the only clips I got are these clips in this gun, right? And then Charlie makes a response video, and he's just like, yeah, so he makes this video about threatening me with guns or whatever.
So I said, watch my clips to see what I was saying about you. I had to communicate via Twitch clips. And I'm sorry to be that guy. This is like the grammar police of guns, but he's a fucking imbecile. You absolute buffoon. What you have there is not clips. These are mags. They're mags, not clips, you absolute fucking dummy. The same way that this is also a mag. They're all mags. Stop saying clips, you look fucking stupid here.
And he fucking takes out this big-ass machine gun. He's like, and what you need to stop doing is calling those clips. This is not a clip. He takes this big-ass fucking machine gun. He's like, this is a magazine. But so that was like, I thought that was really funny. He was like, he was threatening him back, but like, in the same offhanded way.
Just correcting him.
He wasn't threatening him. He's like, no, I just need an example. Here, let me take this fucking machine gun. And he's like, this is a magazine, not a clip. Like, and it's like,
brilliant.
Fucking Americans. But then, like, because I saw it, and my first impulse was like, holy shit, this guy's gonna get arrested for having like a gun on Instagram Live. And then I'm like, oh yeah, no wait, they're just allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's
you can just have a loaded off safety gun in your hand, and that's fine.
Yeah,
America's kind of wild.
I mean, that's what's so great about it.
Like, objectively...
Gotta make it great again.
Objectively, America is not a great country. Dude, I pissed off... Someone on my Twitter asked, have you ever been to a third world country? And I responded, yeah, the USA. And they were not having it.
Yeah, I've been to Wyoming.
Yeah, they were not having fun there. Yeah.
I mean, I think currently... this is also super fucking depressing. Since the... abortion bans, whatever, got dropped in all over in like half the states. Maternal mortality, like whatever, giving mortality from giving birth, has jumped. I don't know by what multiplier, by like several times. And for black women, it's like a black woman in a red state is 20 times more likely to die from childbirth than a white woman in a blue state. 20 times. And their infant and maternal mortality rates, they're like 76th in the world, like in terms of like country rankings. And they have the best healthcare system in the world, objectively. They have the best doctors, they have the best hospitals, they have the best technology, they have the best equipment.
Because it's for profit.
But it's inaccessible to most people.
Well, abortion, like, you're saying murdering is healthcare.
There's a lot of healthcare practices that require abortion to like save a mother's life.
No, I don't think that's true.
Okay, well, that's fine if you don't agree.
We're gonna transition here into
you're not gonna have any kids anytime soon.
The part of the show that you know of, the part of the show that you
have a uterus.
The part of the show that I might. That's fucking problematic of you to assume. The part of the show that we call shot caller, the part of the show that you, the audience, can pick the shot that we take. This episode is sponsored by TransCanada Brewing Company, the coolest brewery on Route 90 in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Wait, hold on.
They're not on Route 90, dude.
Yeah, they are. Right by the Mercedes dealership.
I guess that is.
I drive by there every day. That is absolutely Route 90. It's Kenniston.
Then why are they TransCanada?
Because they go across the Canada.
Why aren't they on the TransCanada?
Huh?
Like they could be.
Anyway, cheers. Thank you, TransCanada, for sponsoring this episode.
It's not like they didn't have the budget to get a building on TransCanada. Like, that's some low-hanging fruit. You almost puked. Oh, you poor boy. Willows is having trouble keeping that one down. It wasn't that bad. Lynchburg, great for tourism. The lynchings are not happening that often anymore, so it's like not as good as it used to be. But their whiskey's really bad.
This is your fault. You brought this. I almost just puked. I'm an alcoholic.
Why was that so? That was like fine.
I don't know, man. I just must have hit me weird.
I didn't even make a face on that one.
I literally almost puked in my mouth.
Yeah, you fucking dry heaved. That's hilarious.
Oh.
To be fair, I got this specifically to make like
Like a Jack and
whiskey and Coke,
Yeah.
and we've just been shooting it for some reason.
Because I'm out of everything else. I finally killed my liquor cabinet.
Nice.
Um,
Hard week.
yeah.
In reality, killing his liquor cabinet was killing half an ounce out of like 6 bottles.
So,
That was rough. You better clip that one out.
do you have any business topics we can talk about? Because this is a business podcast, and we've talked for half an hour about politics.
Oh, God, everything fun that's happening to me right now is just like, it's either talking shit about other local businesses,
Which,
that's like
yeah.
juicy gossip.
Probably shouldn't do on the... Not that anyone cares anyway listening.
I'll talk about it in an abstract way, because this is a topic that I think we've enjoyed before. It is, especially in contracting, it's not that hard to create a corporation, and you get a job, like as a builder specifically. So you get a build, because there's always people always need builders, especially if you're a smooth talker. You got a couple connections, or through, maybe per se your wife has connections, and you get a job, you get a build. Someone's like, yeah, we'll build a house with you, and it's like building a house is a little weird, because it's like, it's not, the person isn't like writing you a big check, like the bank's writing you the check, right? You're like, oh, I hired this builder, the bank approved me for this money. Like you're a little bit removed from it, so it's like the gravity of the situation is like a little bit deferred, because it's like the bank's money. Maybe that's it psychologically, that people just pick the wrong fucking people to build their house. But so long story short, if you want to run a grift, here's how you do it. You incorporate, you get a job, you get deposits to build a house, and you take most of the deposit and build a house, but you take too much of it and say, go buy yourself a new truck. And then you take that new truck, and then you go do some more quotes and do some meetings, and you go and get a couple more customers, and you build some more houses, get some more deposits, and then you take those deposits, and then say spend a month in Disneyland and go to Europe. And
A month in Disneyland?
Sorry, it was a week in Disneyland and a month in Europe. Just theoretically, not saying this is somebody that I know. And you can do this until, and you can like start paying out, like, oh, you pay up the 25% up front for your carpenters, and your 50% up front for your plumbers, and you pay materials up front for your towel guys, whatever. And you keep doing that, and you're only paying out like a small portion of the money that you're supposed to be paying out so far. All of it comes due at the end. But it's so far away. Let's say it's 2 years from now when all this money's going to come due.
That's a
But it's
problem
all
for
just-
future Willows to
It's
figure
all
out.
just sitting in your bank account waiting. That's your money.
So I should invest it.
In
Risky.
say another truck.
That's okay. All right. Maybe
So-
a cyber truck.
And then eventually these bills come due, and things are getting finished, and you're like, well, shit, now I got bills to pay. So now to pay your bills, you're like, I'll just get another contract. And then you take those deposits, and you pay the guys that you owe from the first deposits, and you just turn it into a fucking Ponzi scheme until eventually you just outspend your burn, and you burn all your bridges, and all your subs stop working for you, and all the customers stop calling you. And then you got to file for bankruptcy because everyone's suing you and everyone's fucking mad. So you file for bankruptcy, you get out from under it, let things cool down for about a year, and then you do it all over again. Because you can do this even if you recently filed for bankruptcy, because none of this requires credit.
Right, because you're not loaning from the bank.
Right.
Some other person's loaning from the bank and giving it to you.
Yeah.
Do you have to disclose that you've like
No. You don't have to disclose that you've gone bankrupt recently. And like, this is some fucking great advice. If you're about to go into business with someone, even if you're like a contractor, let's say you're doing anything over 10 grand, and this is somebody you don't know, for construction specifically, and a lot of other businesses, it's not the worst idea. I know you guys have done this with a number of different things. Just pull the fucking court records. See if you can find something on this person. If you're if you're going into anything like near 5, 10, 15 grand, like the amount of money that would fuck you up if you didn't get it or if you lost it, if it would really jeopardize your business, just pull the record, see what there is. And if like
in our country, you can look it up for free online.
Yeah.
Just go to I was gonna say Queen's Bench, Court of King's Bench.
Yeah.
Court records, just Google that, and then if you know first and last name, you can get all their records. And then to get details of it, like everything, you have to go down to the courthouse. It's free, but they charge you like $1 every page you want to take.
Yeah. So,
but you're not allowed to take pictures with your phone, but you're allowed to take handwritten notes.
I know of a lawyer, or I know that this person, theoretically, has a client that's a lawyer, and the lawyer didn't bother to pull the guy's records.
I wouldn't have.
Right.
I don't know. You just
came recommended from.
You just assume your contractor knows what they're doing. Like,
especially because, yeah, I don't even know how this guy gets into the positions he gets into, but
allegedly. This is all hypothetical.
Obviously, but this, I was thinking about it because like this, I'm not involved in this directly in any way. It's just I was hearing about it just on a job site through grapevine stuff, and it's like
grapevine.
Yeah, grapevine stuff, and it just. There's an incredible simplicity to the grift, and especially because he's not actually doing anything wrong.
Well,
like morally, but like there's not legal. He's not break.
You can run your business.
You can do this. You can do this without breaking any laws. And I'm trying to explain this to a guy who like can't fucking believe. He's like, how do you fucking get away with this? And I'm like, it is not illegal to run your own business into the ground.
Yeah, to run a business poorly, yeah.
The only thing that someone running their business this poorly or in this manner could get in trouble for is like maybe violating fiduciary duty or maybe ripping off one of their own investors.
If you're spending the money on personal trucks and shit,
but
yeah,
if you're the sole owner of the stock, who's going to sue you?
Yeah.
Like who can sue you for mismanagement of the funds?
I guess if there was gross negligence, then that can be criminal. Like if you you need to fulfill a contract with somebody, and instead of fulfilling that contract, you spent their money on Disney World.
But you can't prove that per se.
I guess you can't. But
you can't prove that was my money. You can just prove that you overspent.
Yeah.
Which is not illegal.
I think you could prove that in court, though, that it was
maybe. But like most people,
negligence.
But the people that he's fucking over, with a few rare exceptions, this is why contracting specifically, like this will run until basically it runs into someone who has the willingness and the resources to do something about it.
Yeah.
But most people will never do anything about it.
And you just move to fucking Calgary and do it again.
And then you move and do it again.
Yeah.
And like I know this one guy who had this happen to him. Where just like a contractor really fucked him over, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna ruin this guy's fucking life," because he's like, "I have lawyers on retainer. I got the time. I got the money, and like the damage that was done to this person was like probably the value of it was probably about $60,000. That's worth pursuing with a lawsuit." So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck up this guy's day. He's like, because for one, I lost 60 grand on this, and for two, I can afford to do it, and for three, if I know somebody should stop him, and it might as well be me. So fuck it. I'm gonna burn another 50 grand sinking this guy because fuck it. And that's like, people will run until that happens, but even that lawsuit will probably result in bankruptcy, and that person gets restart tomorrow.
Yeah.
And just do the same shit all over again. And it's like it's like, I don't know if this is like a buyer beware PSA, but I don't know how many times, and this is like certain people can run into this type of person over and over and over again and get fucked every time. Because they're willing to believe, like, I'll give him another chance. Or I think he's got his shit together now. Like, let's just, it's been a couple of years. We could just try it again. It seems to be doing better now. Like, you just give the guy another, and then you get fucked again. You're like, I didn't see that coming.
Well, for me at least, it's like I would never assume my contractor would like be bankrupt and not do you know what I mean? Like it's just like you assume. Like there's one. I won't use too many details. So I don't want to shit talk them, but there was a I'll say brewery. I think that's general enough. There was a brewery that misspent and mismanaged and went out of business.
Yeah.
And all these people that had purchased gift cards were like, okay,
Yeah,
that
what?
I just wasted money. And then they also had like this not subscription service, but it was like a membership.
Yeah.
You would like join them to be a member of the brewery, and then you got like products first available and exclusives and like exclusive parties and stuff. And they were paying like a deposit for that, and it's just like they never got their deposit back.
Right. Of
Right.
course not.
And all these gift cards. Apparently, like some business said they had bought like $5,000 of gift cards to give out to their employees, and they just, that's just all wasted money. And it's like, and then, so, but like when you're doing that, when you're buying a gift card from a restaurant or whatever, you're not like, they might go out of business, I might lose this. Like, you're not thinking about that. It's the same thing. It's like if I like fucking hired someone to like build a deck, I'm not expecting they're gonna run out of money before they build the deck, right?
If I get really nerdy on you for a second, if you bought AT1 bank bonds, you're like, wow, these are guaranteed, and turns out they ain't.
The bank goes out of business.
Well, that's the thing. So here's, I don't know. This isn't a tinfoil hat thing. This is like just this actually happening right now. So Credit Suisse, one of the largest banks in the world from Switzerland, they've been like unstable basically since 2008, and they've been constantly restructuring, and they got a big bailout investment from the Saudis to the tune of like $1.5 billion last year, and basically the Saudis lost like 95% of their money this week.
Yeah,
because
they
Credit Suisse got bought out.
They were still trading at $2.
Yeah.
And the bank that bought them out offered 75 cents. And they're like, that's like 3 times. We're still trading at $2, don't you know? And they're like, okay.
Well,
and then they sold for 75 cents a share.
Well, basically the way that I understand it is the Swiss government basically forced that bank to buy out Credit Suisse and gave
Credit Suisse.
Yeah, gave them like a $200 billion liquidity, like government-backed line of credit guarantee or something like that to like do it, to make sure that that whatever they bought wasn't going to go tits up as soon as they owned it. So it was basically a bank bailout by the government. So what really rocked basically the entire global financial system is when a bank goes out of business, like there's always all the creditors that have to be paid, right? When you liquidate the assets, you pay out the creditors, and an AT1 bank bond is supposed to be the first thing that gets paid out. It's bank debt, right? It's supposed to get paid out before all the other bonds, before the equity holders, before everybody. And the way that this bailout was structured with Credit Suisse, all the equity holders got like a 59% haircut on their equity. So basically they took out 41 cents on the dollar of what they owned. And that was from that $2 mark. So their stock went down to almost nothing. And then they only took home 41% of almost nothing.
Yeah.
So like the Saudis lost like 90-some%. And all the AT1 bondholders got wiped out and got nothing. So every holder of like AT1 bank bonds globally started fire sailing them.
Which crashes the price.
Which is really bad for banks because that's how they raise liquidity, right?
Yeah.
So everyone started selling their bank bonds, and they're like, oh my God, is this extremely stable? That'd be like government bonds just like getting canceled on you. Like, what would that do to retirement funds?
You know, I was just going to say, it'd be funny if like people are like, I buy treasury bills, and then the government gets overthrown.
Yeah, it's like, I think the number, like right now especially, I think like the ratio you're supposed to have with your investment portfolio is like 60-40, like 60% bonds, 40% equities, right?
When in a bear market, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine 60% of all the capital out there is trying to buy bonds, and all of a sudden they realize that some of the best bonds in the world might be fucking worthless.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow.
I heard that like part of the reason why Silicon Valley Bank went under though was because they locked in like hundreds of millions of dollars of bonds at like 2%.
30-year bonds.
Yeah, and then rates went up.
The reason the rates going up didn't matter. The fact that they bought 30-year bonds and needed liquidity.
Yeah.
And they had to sell those bonds at a loss.
That just seems like a bad plan, right?
It was a very bad plan.
Yeah, I don't know whose risk management department.
They didn't have one.
Do they really not have one? I know SBF didn't have one.
No, literally, the risk management officer position was not filled for like most of the last 2 years.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, literally.
They're probably selling them now, but I saw like someone has a shirt that says like Lehman Brothers Risk Management Department 2008.
Nice.
So they're probably making the same shirt with Silicon
Absolutely.
Valley Bank, like Risk Management Department, like potluck or like something like that. Like I think it's funny.
I think one of my favorite threads of the story, this actually got like highlighted by New York Times yesterday, was
fake news.
The congressman that passed the bill that basically regulated banks after 2008 was the guy that wrote the bill and helped pass it was one of the guys that helped roll it back. It used to be like a $50 billion ceiling and rolled it back to $250 billion for like all these stress tests and stuff that banks would have to do. He rolled it back and then took a board position for for Signature Bank.
Which also went out of business.
Signature Bank was like floating at like 48 billion before they got the law changed. The law got changed up to 250. They immediately skyrocketed to like 240 billion, quadrupled in size. And he was getting paid millions of dollars to be on the board of this bank. And then this bank fucking goes to zero with him on the board.
Can he get his congressman job back?
No, he's too old.
That
like
sucks.
he's fine. He's like, whatever, fuck it. I'm living in the Caribbean. I don't care what anyone says. Whatever. He got interviewed for the New York Times. It was pretty interesting to listen to. The guy's like completely in denial that he had any responsibility for any of it, because of course nobody ever takes responsibility.
Well, it's no one's fault, really.
It's no one's fault ever.
You know who would actually, when you think about it, it's the consumer's fault for putting their money in a bank.
True.
If everyone I still like that, like just going back to the France like solidarity thing. Like, we should just all withdraw our money and just watch it collapse.
I was gonna say,
like
fucking horseshoe theory, like a motherfucker. Like now you're saying the same line that every fucking conservative has been jerking off about for the last decade.
What are they called? Gold standard.
It's not even like, yeah, it's that, but it's all like
Fractionalized banking.
Fractional reserve banking is objectively bad.
No, I think it's subjectively good
I
because
think
money doesn't exist.
Fair.
I can't possibly fathom how people understand the concept of fractional reserve banking and then tell me that paying off my credit card's important. Dude, I've been pissing off people, I guess, like on my stock trading Twitter, Drunk Dividends, follow it. I'm part of, FinTwit and DivTwit over there, so we interact a lot with each other. And I've met some great people. A couple of them I hope to get on this podcast, wink, wink. But I've met some great people, had some good conversations, had some genuine conversations. One of them even bought some of my wine. Shout out All Caps Financial. Patrick from there bought some wine, shipped it to Quebec. Shout out him. But I have some opinions that like money doesn't actually exist, and I don't even look at my credit because like a lot of the popular FinTwit is like debt is evil. You need to pay off your credit card first.
Yeah, the Gordon Ramsay bullshit.
Dave Ramsey. Gordon Ramsay's a chef. Buddy.
Oh no! I knew I was wrong the second it came out of my mouth.
So there's a lot of like, you know how you make 22% on your money? Pay off your credit card.
Yeah.
Right? Shit like that. And I'm like, I don't even look at my credit card balance. I don't pay the minimums half the time.
Yeah.
I just let fucking interest occur. I literally don't think about it. I don't give a shit. I focus on earning more money. Like, people are like, I can't believe people go out on the weekends when they have credit card debt. And I'm just loading up my fucking credit card, drinking 5 days a week. I don't give a fuck. I'm never going to pay it. I'm just not going to pay it. What are they going to do? Every time I get close to my limit, I raise my limit. I'm just never going to pay it. I'm going to die $1 trillion in debt. Fuck them. If they have 15% of the money that they say they have.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You can't be that irresponsible. You're fucking U.S. government's $1 trillion in debt, $6 trillion in debt, and I need to pay off my credit cards. They can go fuck themselves. So I'm never going to, and I don't care because I focus on and then so I was in this thread, and this guy's like, you have a toxic. I don't like this for my followers. And then some other guy that I'm friendly with defended me, and he's like, no, sorry, you guys are just misunderstanding each other. Willows is saying that like his debt is like making him more money because he's a business owner. I'm like, no, I max out my personal credit cards. I don't give a fuck. He's like trying to defend me, and I'm like, no.
This is indefensible.
I'm bad with my money. Like, I just don't. Anyone who's smart enough to understand how the banking system works, I can't fathom how they give a shit about what their money.
Yeah, as soon as you
capitalist propaganda.
As soon as you understand, what is it, trading? What were those contracts you were talking about? Like,
well, like options,
like futures contracts, or like
options basically. You know what's funny? There's an options contract written on the whiteboard right now behind us.
Yeah. No, it wasn't even options. It was like there's like a further esoteric level to it, which is like you're buying options on options.
Yeah, you can you can basically buy whatever anyone will sell you, right?
Yeah.
So like
which is incredible.
Yeah, when Michael Burry shorted the U.S. government or during the housing crisis,
market,
housing market, they invented that. There were like these double credit default swaps that would like pay off if people defaulted on the debt. And it was like he went into banks and they literally were like, well, this doesn't exist, but if you want to give us money, like we will invent them.
90% of them said no, but
and
somebody did it.
But it's like you can get anyone to sell you anything. But yeah, no, they're like selling options. You can basically sell like options on futures, and it's like you're selling contracts to buy variable assets that are going to change money that in a way that might change, like it literally,
it's so far removed from the idea of money.
You know what money, like I am a small business owner, right? And I own a manufacturing business. I take raw inputs, some of which I grow, right? Like on my vineyard. Like I am one of the baseline entrepreneurs, like where I am,
which makes you a bad capitalist.
But like just bear with me here for a second. Like I'm not even like buying ingredients. I'm like growing ingredients from nothing, manufacturing them into a product, selling that product for cash. That is like, and then it's like, but there's people that make a living. There's people that make a lot more fucking money than I do. I make 10% margin on my fucking wine.
Yeah, because you're going through all the work of doing things.
And there's people that buy and sell companies like mine. They're buying fucking Constellation Brands stock and then buying call options and then making a bunch of I'm making a living like that, right? It's like they're so far removed from what in my mind capitalism is, which is like making a good, selling a good, right? Which I guess is like, I think I've had this debate with people that are like smarter. I'm not really good with the with theory and stuff. I don't read a lot of books. Like I just kind of know what I feel.
And you don't want to fence with the people that are good at theory. There's no progress in that conversation. But I do there's just pedantics.
But I do like talking to people that know theory because it like helps me learn. Mm-hmm. So I think what I kind of like is like mercantilism.
Yeah.
Right? Where like merchants and gold and stuff like that. And then when like you get to capitalism, that people say is like banking is capitalism. Like that's kind of what changed from mercantilism into capitalism, is the fact that like we do have debt and we don't like that, whatever.
Yeah. The ability for debt and then the next level of that was debasing the currency, which allowed basically,
well, the United States,
it allowed the banks to be more flexible. It allowed them to grow. It allowed them to just like fucking write their own rules, basically, because they're like, why are we tying our own hands with this gold standard?
The United States can print money to pay its debts because it takes debts in its own currency that it can print.
Right.
It literally,
and it can do that because it has guns.
You think that like, and I should pay off my fucking credit card. You
don't have guns. Yes, you should.
So I tweeted the other day. I'm like, this is not a popular opinion on FinTwit. I found I've like had people block me and be like, you're toxic for my followers. Stop responding to me because
that's so good.
Because I'm like, it literally doesn't matter. Like I in my heart, I'm not kidding. I don't think money exists. It's just a fucking, and I focus on making more money, and like. This is why I have a good relationship with my business partner, because he does all the accounting and bookkeeping and stuff. I just focus on selling more.
Yeah.
When I need to make a purchase, like a big purchase, I text him, I'm like, do we have enough money I can pay this bill?
Yeah.
No, not that he pays the bills, but I'm like, I have to buy this thing. Can I buy it? Can I afford it? And he's like, yeah, we can probably afford it, or wait till Wednesday when we get paid. I don't even look at the fucking bank. I don't give a fuck. I focus on how much is coming in, not how much is going out.
I'm laughing because I'm the exact same way. This is like you're describing like me and Brandon. I'm like, I got no idea what the fuck is going on behind the curtain, and I do not care.
No, I don't care because I just want to sell more.
Yeah, no, like, I just want to do
I
stuff.
want to earn more. You can't save your way out of poverty.
Absolutely not, no.
So, I don't know. And I guess like a lot of the people that I follow or that I interact with on financial Twitter are like people that like went to school and have relatively good paying jobs and then like invest 75% of their wage in the stock market. And then
I think most people invest like 10% of their wages in the stock market.
But like the people that I follow are like investing like literally 75% and then they retire at 40.
Yeah.
Because there's enough compound interest, right? And that's their goal. But like I want to be a trillionaire. And
when that is equal to having $1,000 right now.
Oh, and then a lot of these people are like, oh, you know, all I ever wanted is to like live off my dividends and then have a wife and kids. It's like, I want models to lick caviar off my balls on a yacht in the Maldives. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. Money doesn't fucking exist. What's going to happen? I'm going to die, and then they're going to be like, oh, whoop, can't cut the credit card debt from him.
And then they'll go after me.
They don't give a shit either. They're just these fucking peons. It's not like I owe anyone. It's not like I actually owe anyone any money.
Yeah, no.
Like the money doesn't exist.
No.
It's not like the bank is giving me free money or giving me money, loaning me anything. When they say they're loaning you something, they're just changing the numbers on your fucking account so you can spend more. Like they're not giving you any cash.
No.
Like, I don't know. I honestly do not comprehend how anyone with like over the age of 18 with like education in how fractional banking reserves work, dyslexic moment there, thinks I should pay off my credit card. Fuck you.
I can't wait to check in on this in like 5 years and see how it's going.
When I'm like so far in debt I can't pay my bills.
Yeah, you just bankrupt out of it, I guess. Just
Fuck
like
'em.
we started the podcast.
Yeah,
with.
bankrupt out of it and I'll start a new construction
Like,
company in a different city.
Bankruptcy
Is awesome.
is pretty good, except after the bankruptcy, you won't be able to do the same things again.
No, it'll be fine.
So you gotta. So my advice would be, you need to pivot to a business model that you can perpetuate without the use of credit.
Drug dealing.
No, there's a lot of scams out there that just have a lot of liquidity involved that isn't yours.
The goddamn credit, dead it. You think a crackhead paying you back? Shit, forget it.
True.
It's rule number 6, boys. I think, right? I can't read it from here.
Yep, you got it. I can't read
Um,
it from here. Of course you can't read it from here. You can't read if it's on the table.
I'm also never going to pay my taxes. Never. Fuck them.
Yeah, it's a good thing that's not illegal.
You know what's funny? I just got the email yesterday. I'm getting audited again.
Didn't you already tell me this?
Well, no, I'm telling the listeners. Yeah, I did tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are on a podcast, Tyler. Yeah, I'm getting audited again.
Brilliant.
This is the second time in 3 years. Maybe because I constantly tweet how I'm never going to pay my taxes.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I've been anonymously reported to CRA personally on 2 separate occasions.
Nice.
That I know of, that they told me about.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. I love just creating problems for yourself for no reason.
I will never pay my taxes. What are they going to do? Are they going to take my balls? My family jewels?
Yes.
No, they're not.
They might.
No, they're not.
Depends which
That's the only thing I care about.
It depends which cop shows up.
Then I'm fine.
On that note,
We're pretty drunk, so is there anything that we've talked about during the podcast that you have changed your mind on, or are you sticking with
so
everything?
I'm gonna go be a contractor in France, and whenever the bank comes for my assets, I'm gonna start a protest.
I was also going to say the France thing. I think I've changed my mind. I like the French now.
Good. Wait, you didn't like them?
Anyway, thank you for listening to episode 108 of this podcast that is Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast, the business topic where we debort babies and drunks and then see if we comes Do you smell burnt toast?
Yeah, buddy. I'm going down with you.
Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.